diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Recovery, Trudging Together podcast. Welcome back, everybody. It has been a minute. Haven't done a podcast since Jeff Allen, but the calendar is getting full. So welcome back, everybody. I know you've been anticipating my raw recoveries. I know you have been. I know you miss me. You gotta. All right, but enough about Dion. You can listen enough about Dion on the Daily Trudge if you want to. Our guest today is a new friend of mine, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren, for coming on the show.
Heck yes, I'm excited. I've also never done a podcast, so bear with me.
No problem. It's one of the reasons that I do this. And it's why it's just you and me here, and there's not other people, so we can be as comfortable as we can, because talking about what we talk about is not always easy to do. And if I can make you comfortable so you can say what you'd like to say, and we do that quite a bit here at Raw Recovery. We take anonymity very, very seriously. If you come on the show, it's about you, not about what Dion wants. It is about what's going to be going on. So in this episode, you are going to be hearing a child.
Yes, I was just about to say I'm going to go snack him because
you're
not winning this fight, Dion, but that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the great thing about Raw Recovery is we don't take away. All right. Little kid needs his mom. We're not going to ignore kids so that we can do what we want. Hey, little buddy.
Say hi.
Hi, welcome to Raw Recovery. What's your name? Oh, somebody got shy.
You're tired. That's why you sleep.
Yeah. Well, you come join us,
dude. Yes, you're going to sit. He's a ham and a half, and he... like toddlers, the way that they change people, who they are every day. They're crazy.
Yeah, you guys. Now the folks don't quite get to see the camera like we do, but yeah, once he saw it was on camera, he got kind of shy.
Yeah.
But I get it. I'm a ham too. I love being the center of attention.
Yes.
Or the alcoholism, I think.
Yep. For sure. Oh gosh, there's so many layers to it.
Now, you informed me that we were going to start this out, and we're going to turn the show over here to Lauren first. But first, we've got a topic real quick that we're going to cover on how Lauren's day is going. So Lauren had brought up the word poop. So we are going to talk about that a little bit before we get started. We're going to have a little fun here. So yeah. Lauren, why did you want to talk about poop?
I was like, that's the first thing I'm going to talk about, because I get a phone call and I have to pick up my son because apparently he had 3, and this isn't the first time this has happened. And we're like, we've never seen diarrhea in the house. It's weird. Here he doesn't ever have it. But in school he does. But anyways, that's why I had to go pick him up. He poops when he gets home.
Okay.
And it's perfectly normal poop. So I emailed the director, and the amount of times I used the word poop, I was like, oh my gosh, my day. So yeah. And now he's just going to join us because that's how life rolls sometimes. I'm blessed. That's what I had to think about. I'm like, you're blessed that you're able to, be here with him
that
and
we
still do
get to
this.
do these things. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And that's why it's important. We've got to show, because I don't know about anybody else, but I had to come to the realization that I show more grace to strangers than I did my own family. And so I had to change that, because we tend to if we're in a bad mood, we tend to take it out on the people we love the most, because we have that fear of abandonment. They're not going to run away from us, so we feel comfortable there. So we got to try and change that, work on maybe being a little bit more assertive in our lives, things like that. But what we're going to do here is, Lauren is here for a reason. She's going to talk a little bit about her story, but mostly we're going to utilize her story to talk about why she does what she does. So if we were to take this to the AA Big Book, we describe in a general way what it used to be like, what happened, and what we're like, and what it's like now. So we're going to be mostly in the what happened and what it's like now. That was what Lauren chose to do, and I can see why. She works for a fantastic company that I'm absolutely happy to plug. So, Lauren, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on over to you. So it is now Raw Recovery with Lauren. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dion. No, I'm excited. I'm excited to share I haven't shared my story a lot, to be honest. Like, it's
Okay.
kind of not necessarily, like, I feel like with my my colleagues and stuff, they certainly know, and then my close friends, but
Sure.
to like groups of people, I haven't shared enough. So I'm so excited that Mountain West can, like, once I can figure out my freaking life and scheduling my life, because that's another thing. I hope there's ADHD listeners who can ping ball with me, because that is how I
About
tell stories.
95% of them are.
Totally, 100%. But yeah, so this is exciting. It's just all of this is like a, journeys on journeys on journeys. So this is kind of, for me, it feels like a new journey, that I've been through a lot. And it's just very, very exciting, and I can't help but feel so positive. But anyway, and it's brought me to people like freaking Dion, who I appreciate and admire you, and I feel all positive about everybody that I've just met. It's been great.
That's awesome.
I know, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that compliment.
Of course. It's just, it's nice when you're like, oh wow, the company aligns. Oh wow, my colleague, my direct partners who I talk to all day align. And then, the strangers who become friends, it's wonderful. So
yeah. And we certainly don't need to name any other companies or anything, but were you finding yourself having a hard time in places before you found Mountain West? Because that's what we're plugging today. So
no, and I can applaud. I'll talk about all of it because they're all amazing. Yeah, and right. I can be like, even if it's a specific person, I can be as mad as I want at them. They still change lives, and I know they do. And there's no hatred at all to anybody. They're all great people, and they brought me so, and I'll explain it, like I said, but all of it. But yeah, I'll start. So, but I need to figure out this timeline. I think it's 4.5 years ago, because my son is almost 6. Okay. And it was that 18 months, man, the 18 months, because both of my kiddos, the postpartum hit around that time. Okay. And you kind of look at postpartum as like right after the baby, comes, and it's different for every woman, whatever. Okay. But I would say my drinking before that was problematic, and it's only ever been drinking. I have ADHD. And so it became like, I have many, many friends. I always have had things to do on the weekend, always. Okay. And alcohol, like, I don't know, my sister's generation too, my mom calls us, me and my sister are millennials, but shot culture. Okay. We just take shots of hard alcohol to the head. And for her, a boomer, that was unheard of. She's like, what? You mix those, but yeah.
I did chase it with a beer.
Yeah. Do you remember that though? Like, that was disgusting.
I thought beer was a chaser.
100%. Especially as you get more hardcore. Like, I remember chasing with water.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, obviously, and then in your addiction, you can freaking do it straight. No, I couldn't many times, but I did with water for
But it for me, it was just the first one. If I could get the,
sure.
I called it churning the burn
Yeah.
because it burnt the first time, but after that, it all kind of went numb. So
Hmm.
it wasn't as bad.
Yep. 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 And it's just like, my mom would always say, one day, Lauren, you're not going to be. And you listen to your mom more. That's all.
Yes,
That's
listen to
one
your
thing.
mothers,
Listen to your mothers. Listen to your women. Your women, if you trust them, listen.
your elders. Yeah,
Yes.
there's a
Yes,
lot
your
of not
elders.
listening to our elders
Yes.
nowadays. I partly get
But
why though.
I know. I don't know why we don't appreciate old people more. But anyways, so where was I? So yeah, so 18 months. It what that kind of part of my life was over. Really, like going out really hardcore partying, but drinking certainly was there, but never by myself.
Hmm,
That was,
okay.
that was never a thing. But then I will say, because there's part of my story I won't dig into because it's whatever. But
Okay.
you go through shit and there's reasons you drink. But part of
Mhm.
like the selfish piece I've really reflected on is boredom and
Ah,
that being my trigger. And because I
with
need more outside.
ADHD.
ADHD, well, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like I truly do feel like that disorder, and I'm using quotations because I don't think it's one. I think it's, a superpower, but we can't
Thank
stand
you.
this system. We cannot stand it here. And so we need that extra oomph because it's like, God, this is boring. But, um, that's just, I'm sure people could relate. But, yeah, but it just led to more so like me having a thought process of like, I can fucking do this because I was
Mhm.
functioning. Um, but it's still, it wasn't that daily thing. But I had my firstborn March 2020, like March 21st, 2020,
Okay.
boom, COVID, which that was
Oh
just,
yeah. Yeah.
I think it was just hard on my nervous system in general, even though, and I'll tell everyone that I did end up getting a diagnosis of MS.
Okay.
And so that was a year, well, end of 2024. So like,
Okay. Over a
um,
year ago.
yeah. And so, but my first flare up was like kind of when I was pregnant like 8 weeks. And so I don't know,
Ooh,
but my nervous system, I just remember being like, oh my God, because no one knew what the hell was up.
okay.
No one, not no one, no one could tell us anything. I was like, are we all gonna die? Like I didn't know. At one point, that was the sense, that was what people were saying, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty scary. And also to like be like, do I let my mom hold my child? Like, there's
Mm.
just a lot to it. But yeah, so anyways, there was just one point where there's just this dark cloud. I know that, I don't know, Dion, have you struggled with depression?
I'm diagnosed with severe depression. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so shitty, especially if it
Yeah.
comes, I mean, not especially, when it comes in and out and you begin to like start feeling it and know when it comes, and then you have panic, and then it's just, I'm sure everyone can relate
Yeah.
the lack of control they have. And like my ignorant ass back then was like, well, happiness is a choice, and in some sense it is. You should take
It,
care of yourself.
in a sense, it is. Yeah.
Yes.
That's not
But
all of it. That'd be pretty. There's more to it, and you'd be naive to think otherwise.
100%. And I love that you talked about, by the way, in the beginning, just giving people grace. And a huge thing I've reflected on in 2025 is how I treat my loved ones, how unfair I can be, and how I
Mhm.
hold unrealistic, different, I guess, standards for strangers and such. But so I appreciated giving grace because I say that a lot lately.
Yeah.
And it gives you a more peaceful life when you give people grace, like when you just
Yeah.
appreciate the good, like, understand the bad and move on and really, so yeah,
Yeah. That
appreciate it.
reminds me of the St. Francis prayer. It's better to love than to be loved. It's better to comfort than to be comforted. When I get out of myself, I usually find my answers
Yep.
of the questions that I'm currently seeking. I usually tend to get my answers.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love that. But anywho's, where was I? So yeah, that 18-month point,
Mhm.
nothing, you just, everything's negative, and it's not like you're even outspokenly like complaining. You just don't care. You don't have, you know what I noticed too? One of the cues is when I stop listening to music in my car and like jamming out, I'll sit in silence and I'm like, what's wrong with me? I don't have this joy that's sparking me, because when I am happy, genuine, I love music. I need it.
Mhm.
But anyways, yeah, the daily drinking took over, and it just, I wanted to talk about too this shame spiral.
Mm.
One of the companies I've worked for, and they're the most beautiful, like I can't tell people enough, like if you have the funds and support, Flatirons Recovery, their clinical team is something, it's just amazing.
Oh, they Flatirons Recovery? Good, great.
Flatirons
That's
Recovery.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Flatirons.
Yes.
And it's because they do it the right way.
They
That's
do.
why I'm a big fan. They're not out for the money.
Yep.
They're there to help.
Yep.
The people working there are broke. That's how you can tell.
And
Look at the cars outside.
You feel it when you walk in too.
Yeah.
Oh, you meet the owners. Oh my gosh. But
And not many places do that. The owners, you don't meet the owners.
Yep. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to hug. Yes. Oh my gosh. I just
Flatirons. Woo.
yes. Anyways, but yes, and they do it in a way where they guide the clients. It's not so I don't even know the words. Like sterile. I don't really know, but they care so much about them when you sit in their case consultations. But anyways, tell me where I was. ADHD right now.
Oh yeah, no worries. You were that's where you were working, or one of your first experiences was Flatirons.
What? Oh, the shame spiral.
Yes, the shame spiral. That part.
Yes, and so I sat in one of their groups, and I really reflected on their mindfulness approach, right? And so you think about the initial thought, and I wrote it down, and it was honestly, because you really have to reflect sometimes to find it, but I remember thinking, why did it wasn't like I regretted my child, but it was more so your thoughts go to, why did I do this? Oh my God, did I do the right thing? Did I make just the most epic, worst decision of my life, And those thoughts are completely normal, right? But for me, I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst person ever. Some women can't have children, Lauren. How dare you think this way?
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt nothing but shame on myself when when you're, it's incredible, number one, what women go through. It's beautiful, right? But when you're in this world, I mean, I guess this country, I don't know. I wished the entire time I was like in the jungle, just in the sun. But it's hard on us, right? And it, like I said, your hormones, you go through a lot, so your thoughts go everywhere. But instead of thinking, we talked about how you reframe thoughts, right? So if you're able to catch them, you have to live consciously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're able to catch them and reframe them, your thoughts are behavior. You become behavior. Yeah. And so if I would have said, you're a new mom, Lauren, you're going to work through this, right? If I had that knowledge, think of, how that would fall. But instead I felt like a piece of shit. So I acted like one, and the behaviors matched, and then the thoughts got worse, and then the behaviors got worse. Right. And there you are. You're like, holy shit, who am I? You look in the mirror and you're like, I don't even know.
Now you've lost your identity too.
Yes. And already as a mom.
Yeah, that makes it worse. Yeah.
Yep. The identity became a big piece of it. It's then you add on that MS diagnosis, which honestly brought me, I feel like, a lot of clarity to my life. Like, I don't know why it benefited me so much, but it did, obviously. But yeah, journey after journey, like I said, but just, and that's what I want listeners to take away. It's like, try, practicing that mindfulness and walking through life in that way, you can be so intentional with how you live. And that means too, how you impact others. You can cause, what I've learned is you can cause so many positive ripple effects by just touching people, being the light, just being the light, and it directly, the book, Have You Filled a Bucket Today? It's my favorite book. I was a kindergarten teacher at one point, everyone. And if you fill a bucket, yours automatically fills, right? And bucket dippers usually are the ones who buckets are empty, and hurt people type stuff. But yeah, I love that motto, and I love teaching that to children.
And you bring up a really good point, that because when we're talking reframing, we're talking a lot about cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yep.
And recovery is very much that. In fact, a lot of mental illness, I did the same thing with my PTSD. I had to reframe. Now that took some EMDR, a little bit more digging than say my anxiety. But all of it, I had to reframe. So when people say, well, AA brainwashes people, I'm like, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Absolutely. And we need it, because my way of thinking was not working.
Yep. Well, and think about what we talked about the other day. It's like, when you truly change, you have to become someone new, right? And it's not, think of the intention behind everything. It's to do better, to be better for yourself and everyone else. So Yep. But yeah, so the spiral happened. I'm trying to think, it became vodka hidden in closets. And I feel like I did fake it to make it for the most, like I became really good at hiding that. And, but it's when it got to the point where you don't feel okay without it. Right. And so you drink to almost feel normal physically. That's when you're like, but I didn't know what detox was. I didn't know anything about any of this. Now I'm like,
yeah, isn't, the thing is when your intentions are drinking, AA just doesn't pop up. You don't hang out with people that are going to, there's 59 million alcoholics in the world. There's 2 million in Alcoholics Anonymous. Just imagine how many people out there are naive that there is a way to recover. We're very fortunate. I believe that.
Oh, for sure. And that's why we do what we do, Dion, because we want everyone else to feel how we feel,
Yes. And it's a good selfish.
Right. Yep. Yep. And just to know too that, and I'll get to that, but I fucking love addicts. We are addicts for a reason. And I think, like I touched on it with the ADHD, it's like we vibrate differently. We're so over this freaking world because there's so much wrong. Especially now, I mean, come on, but just redirecting all your superpowers that you have been taught to mask, right? Because I'm sure, like my brother, for example, diagnosed ADHD, constantly being told he's too much, he's wrong, he's annoying, he's everywhere, he's a problem. You are a problem.
I know how that feels.
And where'd he end up? Jail. A lot of his adult life, right?
Yeah.
That's the system for you. It's like, if I can tell any, and that's what I tell. I used to be an admissions coordinator. I'll get there, and I promise I won't ramble on and be crazy like this.
It's your show. You ramble all you want.
Nice.
It'd be a Led Zeppelin song and ramble on.
Right. But I used to tell them, stick it to the man, right? It's like the secret to this evil world is to live. And by that, it means like, don't buy their poison and just live, right? So like, do things that follow how you feel, and there's a lot that they can, people can do to support others in their shoes. And I think it's funny because if you research statistics, 4 out of 5 people are addicts, right? Like poison. But yeah, anyways, so I'm just trying to think, but I worked jobs that I still succeeded at, and I've done a lot of pre-screens, and people really do function sometimes, but you never last, right? You can't, because you're literally consuming poison that's killing you. But
The hard part, and I don't mean to interrupt
no,
here,
please do.
is society, like if I say alcoholic growing up, what pops into my head, like when people say rock bottom, which I can't stand because
Yeah.
that's death.
Yeah.
But if I say rock bottom, you think, oh, okay, paper bag, living on Skid Row. Oh, I'm not there. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
And in the DSM, that's actually an oxymoron. There's no such thing as a. I understand why you think that way though, because
Right.
you don't fit the description of what you were told,
Right.
but that description was wrong. It was incorrect.
And it's almost worse, right?
Yeah.
Because you get this confidence.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a
that's
pride
dangerous.
ego. Oh yeah.
Very dangerous. Ugh. But alcohol in general, it's, you know, what you learn throughout your process, whether it's DUI classes, because that's where I learned what it does to your brain and just all of the things. And I hate, you know, when people ask me, well, why don't you drink? Which, you know, most people know, but the list goes on and on, right? Like I could, where do you want me to fucking start?
Yeah.
But you have to, you know, you have to learn. You have to go through life. But it was funny because I will not name my
That's
sister. We're all, so there's 5 of us.
Okay.
My oldest, you know, he went through the Navy. He's never, you know, addiction didn't touch him, but the 4 of us definitely got the addiction bug. And my father struggles, you know, struggled. He passed when I was 11. So pick your, you know, I don't really know fully if I even know if it's genetic, but then part of me is like, of course it's genetic, but I don't know. But my aunt on my mom's side, so it definitely runs through the family. I just feel like it runs through every family, if I'm being honest.
You know, I tend to believe it's genetic, but not always. I think both sides are possible.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I believe it was genetic.
Yeah.
That's what because I grew up in a decent household.
Right.
You know? I've interviewed and met people that were adopted that grew up in great families, but they were adopted because the biological mother and father were addict and alcoholics. And what happens?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I believe it could be both sides. I think what we need to come to the fact is that I'm an alcoholic. The reason why at this point doesn't really matter what I do about it.
Yeah.
You know, because we love to argue about those things, so we never get to what we need
100%. Yep, for sure. And it would be hard for me to not believe it, right? Because my dad, but you know, like systemically, right? Quotes. My dad was diagnosed with ADHD. My brothers and I were diagnosed, and so, but yeah. Anyways, 5 of us, we or 4 of us struggle, and so we've all been through our wild journeys. And you know, ADHD in boys. I luckily didn't need, you know, I wasn't put on medication for a lot of my life. I'm stimulants is what I'm referring to. My brother was a different story. And what was his drug of choice, you know? And then, you know, my sister, her own story, but she went to a detox, and she was like, she doesn't really remember it very well, but she was like, you can go here. So I went there, and I was like sober when I arrived. Like I thought, I was like picturing, this is how naive I was to this whole life. Whereas now I would have been like, I would go here, here, here.
Now you know. Yeah.
Yep. No, this is how I can tell people.
Yeah.
And so I arrived, but I was having hallucinations because my anxiety would not allow me to sleep, no matter how sober or drunk. Like I know it was wild.
Yeah.
And and it wasn't like I'm like talking to myself or anything. I just was so anxious, and I was seeing things like shadows, or like I really like spiritually it was bad. But if you think about it, and when I heard this, it was helpful to me. When you replace your serotonin and dopamine with something like alcohol, you're living off of that. You're living off of alcohol and your cortisol levels to survive, because your serotonin and dopamine were like, oh, you've got this alcohol, see you later. They peace out. And that's how you're living. So then when your alcohol goes away, you're left with reeling cortisol. Like your cortisol levels are so high that you seize. There's so much can happen, and it's cool, but it's also it just is so bad for your body, right? Like think of me, my MS, right? My nervous system, but that was already a thing.
And the alcohol just exacerbated that.
Certainly didn't make it better. But yeah, and so when I was there, though, there were people throwing up on the walls. There was poop like in all over my bathroom. People were like in the middle of the night, just like in agony, right? And then the next day, the problem was so many people were there that were forced to be, and I think it was more of a drunk tank. I just did not make the right decision in all of this. But my point being is that there's very different levels of treatment depending on where you go. But anyway, so I went home, and I will say too, I was on probation.
Okay.
So rewind time a little bit to like my son had turned maybe 2. Yeah, he was 2. And I was kind of in control, right? Like I didn't need it daily. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't, it wasn't like that. And so I kind of took a pause. And then on a freaking Sunday, we had like a thing with work, and there was mimosas involved. And then it just, it took a turn. And of course I get a DUI that day, and I lucked out in every way.
Okay.
But which I was, I'm very blessed, and I honestly feel bad but I just, I still took that as a DUIs can be a good learning lesson. And
it can be, and there's a lot of people that get DUIs that aren't alcoholic. It just happened.
Yeah.
I met my first ex-wife in AA. She was not an alcoholic. She was there because of DUI.
Yeah.
She still got a sponsor. She still did the work. She did everything that she was supposed to, and it helped her life out. Yeah.
Good for her.
Now she runs a cat shelter in Lakewood for anybody that's looking for kitty cats. It's a no-kill cat shelter. We'll give her a little plug there, Lakewood Cat Shelter.
We will talk about this later, but we want 2 cats.
You do? I have 2 cats available right now. We'll talk after them.
Okay, deal. Because we're moving. Well, yes, we'll talk about it. That excites me though. That is so funny. Okay. Yes. And I love that your wife, I love that that makes me feel like she's, she has a lot of empathy for not only all living creatures, but to take that seriously like that, because you do learn a lot. If you're an empath, when you take the freaking MAD class or whatever, I'm just sitting there bawling like, oh my God, Lauren, you could have killed so many people. But
yes,
you just I have to work on like shaming myself though, because like my inner dialogue, and I want to talk about this piece of it, and I will throughout, but the inner dialogue, like, that's what I would tell myself. You are a piece of shit. You don't deserve this life. You could have killed so many people. And I just, and that comes from trauma that I didn't know existed. I didn't even know I was allowed to have trauma. I didn't really know what trauma was. And so
those are old tapes playing from people telling you that growing up.
Yes.
That wasn't you.
100%. It's like, even when I do still today succeed, I critique it.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up and celebrate yourself, and that, they're in. And so, yeah, I'll kind of get to this, but, so yeah, I went home, and I was on probation, and I also had dope ass POs. There were 2 women, because one of them left to be a speech pathologist.
Okay.
But they understood, right, that I was struggling. They really did. And so that's the approach they went. They didn't hammer me. And they were like, I couldn't imagine them favoring me for any reason. I think they were genuine people.
Yeah.
Because I do think my race does play a huge role in my probation journey, but not with them.
Okay. That's fair.
Yes. But anyways, and so, yeah, she gave me like this little blowy device, whatever. Anyways, it came down to it. You need to leave your environment. That's what it came down to. I had to be removed. I needed to go away. And so, yeah, I ended up checking in. It was West Pines,
Woo.
which it's an amazing place now. It's a behavioral, it's now in Westminster, but where I went was
It's off Huron and about 107th,
2012,
something like that.
something like that. You're almost,
Yeah, it's right next to my Kaiser. Oh, it's more like 100 and probably close to 20th. I think you were right.
yes, yeah,
It's closer here on
in between, right down here on.
Yeah, and it's huge. It's huge.
Yes, I know. Yes, and this was in Wheat Ridge, so it was by the hospital. I forget what.
Yeah, the old West Pines, which was a great location too. It's nostalgic.
I freaking loved it
for me.
I have no complaints. I met the most beautiful people. My first round, okay, relapse is a thing, but it was great. And they had a rock climbing wall. Okay. And I still am huge into fitness. They had great food. I had no complaints. And honestly, we laugh about it because I'm like, I wish sometimes I could go back to treatment. Dion, I don't know. I don't know if you can relate.
No, I never really had much money for posh treatment. My treatments were like halfway houses for homeless alcoholics.
Yeah. Well, mine
we didn't have a rock climbing wall. We
I
had
know.
rice and beans.
I know, it was so cool. And it was a Medicaid facility. Like
back then it was, right? At the moment it's not, but they're working on that. They're working on switching it back. So
yes. And they, people, I think that like some people probably, a lot of people would look at it and be like, oh, this is a dump. But I appreciated it a lot. And then, the fitness piece, all the things, but it obviously helped me. I think the removal of my environment was so big.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I didn't even know that,
Mm-hmm.
And so journey, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
But I went back and did great. I found my job at Sandstone Care. The people there, like, it's just so fucking cool because I walked in and here I am new to this whole recovery thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting trained by these intelligent, respectable, amazing people. And they're all, I used to be addicted to crack and I was a smoker. And I'm like, what the?
Well, you don't even look like you do. Yeah.
Right. And it, to me, it just was so fucking inspiring. Priscilla, I hope you hear me. She changed my life in every way, but like, don't tell
Does she also go by Scylla Marie?
No.
Okay. Just curious.
She's just a freaking angel, but she had like 17 children at the same time I had.
Oh.
Yeah. And like, yes. But like, I just remember, she would have team meetings and she would end up crying and really lighting a fire under our ass of like, why, we're there. Because at the time, it was admissions court. I was an admissions coordinator. So many calls coming in. And Sandstone was beautiful. It still is. They're actually, I get to tour them. I don't know, but they're focused on like young adults and teens, which I think is amazing because here we are working with the DOC a lot. And it's like, if we can get these young adults
before it happens, that's why we call it prevention.
Yep.
I'll make a bold statement. Harm reduction is not prevention.
That's not this there. Yes.
Not in the sense that we're talking about. So here, Colorado, we don't need any more harm reduction. We got nothing. So. Probably shouldn't plug that in on your show. So I hope you agree.
Yes. No, I love it. I love it. But yeah, I heard, we were on the phone all day long and I would have clients for months at a time. And so really involved in their life. And I freaking loved it because you're kind of like, and I just was good. Like I'll toot my own horn because I was freaking good at it. I was so, and it was because I was so genuine. It was like, I don't give a fuck where you go, what you're calling about, but you're calling this number for a reason. And I just want you to feel empowered after, and I would give people a safe space and that's all they needed.
Yeah. You're really, Lauren, you're really good at making somebody feel like you're holding that space for them right now. It's something that I've noticed about you, and I can tell you it's one of the reasons Dane hired you. You're really good at making people feel like there's nothing else in this world going on except you right now.
I like
So
that.
good job. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I like, when you really do have that genuine passion, you can't, I've been told this by supervisors, you can train on data collection and all of that, but you can't train on the other stuff. You either have it or you don't. And it went so well. And I just remember walking out the door being like, fuck, yes, I found it. I found, because when I graduated college, I didn't really, I all I wanted to do was help people. So I became a kindergarten teacher and then a registered behavior technician for, mostly kiddos on the spectrum, which was fantastic. But just I had to go through my thing to really find where I can touch who I need to, who I've always been passionate about, because I've been a part of my siblings' journey and stuff, since I was young.
Yeah.
They're so much older than me, but yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah, I was there. I was at Sandstone doing that, many calls, hearing what people truly needed too, because we couldn't, that we were private insurance, and so a lot of people on Medicaid. And I would try and really just navigate their care for them, because but even then, this was, I don't know, 3 years ago, there wasn't that many resources.
Yeah, that's, I used to work at Detox in the 90s and I loved it.
Yeah.
Because I was helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they wanted treatment, I could get them to treatment right away. If they needed, sober livings weren't around yet. They were, but they were real sober livings. We called them halfway houses. Yeah. And we had a lot of resources that worked. Now you're not short. So I went to work at Detox 3 years ago and I hated it. I worked there 3 months. I didn't help anybody.
I didn't.
I'm like, then why am I even here? Why am I even being paid $16.75 an hour?
Yeah.
We get really excited if somebody had to go out of town, because we had plenty of money to ship people out of town, but we didn't have any money to help them. And you'd have people that were homeless, and all I had for them was sober living. Well, they've been on the street for 20 years. They don't know how to fill out a job application anymore. They don't know. They didn't have the skills, so they'd end up back there, and it just began. So I'm really glad to have places like Mountain West now that I know I can send them to, and they're going to be taken care of. It. I can go to sleep at night.
Yep. 100%. It's so amazing. And it's cool because all through those Medicaid calls, that I was taking at my first job, I was hearing what people truly needed, right? So in my head, I'm like, I wish I could do this, and this. I wish I could be a company that does this, and this for people. Yeah. Because I would even get the crisis calls where people are like, I have nothing. Like I don't know if it's different now. Like, I don't know if calls are able to be navigated more, but it was such a general line that I would get so many calls. And so
different types.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, because there's AI now, that's my point. So I don't know if it's different.
I still don't think that's a reliable.
Right.
Well, ChatGPT is so codependent. It's ridiculous.
And I just don't even, we're dancing with the devil, But, it also helps. It helps me.
It's hard to find the balance in all that. But when it's wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay that's all right.
Yeah. And I think people can know when you're overusing it and all things. But anyway, so you hear on the phone, I wish there was a company that did this, and this for all these people. And then here comes Mountain West, checking all these freaking boxes. And I'm like, the owners of the founders of this company clearly went through it and said, I don't want this person to struggle with all of these fucking things. Right. So, sounds cool. Right. Freaking blessed. But, so, here I am. This is for listeners who, whatever, if are newly recovering. Here I am thinking I'm on the top of the world with recovery. I have it under my belt. I do get pregnant, but I don't necessarily want to blame it on that, even though probably a huge piece of it, right? But I
Okay.
still think mentally I was not grown enough to be on top of my, like, I don't know. When I think about where I was, there's a lot that I realized and learned in 2025. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even relapse. It was just more so this awakening that happened. But
Okay.
that I just feel so in control now, but probably so much more to learn still, right? But anyways, pregnancy did happen. So my second baby, who's here, and he, I was doing pretty well,
Okay.
honestly. And then I get this terrible postpartum, but it's like waves, and I don't know what week's gonna be good.
Ooh, okay.
But it almost felt like open heart surgery because I was in control.
Yeah.
And when reflecting, I didn't really have any trigger. Like I didn't even when I was feeling anyway, I didn't have triggers to drink. My brain didn't go there
Yeah.
until Christmas like he came. And let me think about how to sell this. I guess like social influence
Okay.
and just reasonings that I guess I just thought I had it under control. Number one, I didn't think detox was in the picture, which now it's like sign up every time you drink because you're
Mm-hmm.
headed. But I just, I wanted to have fun and someone else was having fun and I wanted to have fun with them. And so, yeah, and then it just, you think you can stick with beer and wine and no, you can't. You go right back to your poison that you chose.
You do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Even if it's non-alcoholic beer.
Yep. And then like what I wanted to talk about too with the hormones, it's like, okay, so your hormones go right back to remembering it. So
Yeah.
it doesn't take long.
No,
Your-
it's a snap of a finger.
Yep. Your serotonin and dopamine are like, you're back. Hurrah. Goodbye.
Here come the hideous four horsemen.
And you have to, I guess, learn you. And you know what? Probably someone could have told me that, Dion. Hey,
Mhm.
just so you know, your hormones remember it. And I would have been like, cool, whatever. And, still drink, but they definitely do. And it's just one of those things. It is what it is. You
Sure.
marked yourself, but it's a blessing to me because that shit is stupid. Like, I don't
Right.
want.
Yeah, because and people I think they tend to confuse slips and relapses. Slip means
Oh, yes.
I
Sorry.
had a drink and I came right. Yeah, I don't think you used relapse. Relapse means you went out for years. That's what that means. So is relapse a part of recovery? No, but slips are. If you came right back and you learned something from it, it doesn't mean that everything you did before is gone now. That's not what that
Yeah.
means. But we alcoholics like to take these things into extreme, and the stigma that could, oh my gosh, you had a drink and the whole world is
I
falling
know.
apart.
I know.
Oh my God. And so you go back to your then you get scared to go back to your AA group because you're afraid. So then you go and they're like, you came back, you're awesome. We love you.
Yep.
Because we know what that's like.
For sure. And
Yeah.
coming back is such a good piece that you pointed out because it takes
Courage.
Courage. It's all such beautiful learning that, we get to do. Would I have done all of this inner work? Would I have put all of this
Nope,
into
I
myself?
wouldn't have.
Nope. I was
Nope.
joking with someone, at the symposium because she was like, we were just talking about these like clinical cards peer coaches could use. And we were laughing because I was like, it doesn't just have to be addicts that puts all this work into themselves, but it's interesting, We're judged.
It's easy to point at people that you deem lower than you.
Yep, of course.
And that's why there's all the stigma so that people can continue pointing fingers.
Yeah.
So what kind of happened that you found Mountain West then? You said that's when that kind of came in.
Yep. Well, the MS stuff, when you get on that medication,
okay,
you have to it's like you have the flu for 3 months.
Ooh.
Mine, it was like on it towards the end of both 2 months, I would feel better.
Uh-huh.
So mine wasn't bad. I feel so blessed that I got to be on it because it's great.
Okay.
But I couldn't work. The disability isn't a thing. And so then I just found myself, looking for a job. I have work ethic that I just wanted it to be for a reason. And I had an idea in my mind. So the job market was really weird. And all of a sudden it was okay.
Yeah.
Like but before it was strange. And it was like a recruiter, and she brought me to Dane, who like my interview, pardon.
I said, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
just awesome. Great. I love Dane.
I know. He's like my hero almost, because I mean, in a lot of ways he's such a good supervisor. I know that he's listening, or he's probably going to, and so I'm being a schmoozer. But I've already told him this, but he really is. He's so great. All about it. Everything about it is amazing. And I am a fangirl, and I don't really care because I've witnessed all the good.
He's in a world of a bunch of frickin' posers.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet people that are real in this industry. It took me a while to get there.
I know, right? Yeah. And it's not even to say that like my past anything. It's just, it's aligned with me. But so, it's whatever. In a lot of ways, thinking about my brothers, thinking about myself, but anyways, our interview, it went over, we shot the shit. Then the next day I went and met Kyle, and their story, everything they were saying, I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no way. And they've met my needs, they've met clients' needs, more than I could even ask for. And every single thing, like me, Casper, and Dane, I talk to those two all day, and I just
the support system.
They're just amazing. And it's crazy too, because like I feel, I just feel like these people are like already my family. I've been there for 3 months. And I even told them, I was like, I don't care if you don't consider me that. I do. Like, I just love every single person there. So.
I know Dane loves the fuck out of you and Kat.
Yes.
Because he told me, and he would, otherwise be like, no, you know what? This is just foot. You know how Dane is.
Yes. Yeah. No, he's
very straightforward.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the best way to put it, he's very assertive. And that's what I like about him. He doesn't blow smoke up people's butts.
Uh-oh. Interruption.
Somebody's at the door.
Someone's there. I'll just bring you with me.
Okay.
But anyways, and just the barriers they break down. Sorry. Thank you, Rena.
Thank you, folks, for being
my secondborn, or my firstborn.
Yay, firstborn's home. We didn't talk about you much.
What'd you say?
We didn't talk about you too much.
No, not too much. He's an angel. He's magical.
Aw, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, he really is. But he's another one diagnosed. Did I tell you I did about the sensory disorder?
Yeah.
Almost ADHD.
Yeah.
But he's wonderful, and I'm just excited to guide him through this in a different way.
Yeah. I'm glad too. When I went to look for my diagnosis for ADHD, I just wanted the diagnosis. Like, can I send an appointment to a diagnosis? Sure. Would you like us to send you a med? And I'd hang up, because I wasn't looking for meds.
Yep.
I was looking for a diagnosis. If you think you're going to peddle me anything, you're talking to the wrong person.
Yeah.
Because I'll go report you next.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell on you.
I'm going to tell. I love that. I say it all the time.
Well, I'm known as the narc in the industry. They call me the narc, which just tells you where their minds are still at.
I know.
So, ain't no thing. So what's it like working at Mountain West? What are some things that you guys that you provide over there? And remember, they do take Medicaid, just so everybody knows.
Yes, they take Medicaid. And so with your insurance, we're working on getting in network with all 4 Rays. But we provide the peer navigation, which I think is really freaking cool because we can meet your individual needs. Like, for example, we just got a girl enrolled for her GED, and I think that that's,
Yeah.
I know, I think that
Yeah.
that's just Dane says, giving you dopamine from progress and purpose, and like just giving people those tools to succeed, get a
Mhm.
certain certification that they specifically want, all while being in a house. They're all really nice houses, by the way. In a house amongst, a community that's there to support you. I mean, how
With the
freaking
same
cool.
thing, with the same
Right.
intentions. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, if your clinical need is IOP or PHP, which PHP is partial hospitalization, it's Monday
Yeah.
through Friday, and then IOP, but we have that. So you get that treatment, you get that clinical, the peer support groups, curriculum is good Lord, I can't talk, is written by our curriculum is written by our clinicians. That's a
Yes, you
keyword.
got it.
And so yeah, and they just have constant support with them. We were just at the symposium with them. I saw them interacting all weekend with each other. And so I just think that that's like, I mean, I couldn't imagine texting my clinicians on a weekend at another company if I needed.
Oh, yeah, you
You know
you
what I
get
mean?
in trouble for it.
Right.
But
In no
yeah,
way.
yeah. One of the first things, because I work at sober livings, I mean, I touch the gamut. And the first thing that I do is I go talk to the employees. It's the first thing I do because I want to see their attitude. Are they happy? Do
I
they
know.
enjoy their job? Because that tells me whether it's a good company or not, on whether or not the employees enjoy working there.
Yep.
That's how I pick my
It
therapist.
matters.
It does.
And it matters. And I just remember how Kyle approached everything. I just was like, this can't be real that someone treats their employees like this, And
Yeah,
it's not even that I was mistreated because I wasn't. I
yeah,
was treated
yeah.
like
It
a
doesn't
normal
sound
employee.
like you've had great experiences in this,
It did. I was
which I'm
treated like
so happy to hear because you're not jaded like I am. So
yeah, for
that's
sure.
nice.
I
Well,
know.
we need that. Well, for now, you're not. You're not jaded yet.
We'll see, Dane, if you're listening. Dane and Kyle. But no, for real, like I really was treated well. And
I love to hear that.
yeah, and I just think that that Kyle approached it, and he approaches it with everyone like this, and it's and you hear, when you have the vibe feelers, what do we call
Hmm.
those? What should we call those? You just kind of know when someone's bullshitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, what's the saying? You can't bullshit a bullshitter, and I was head bullshitter, man.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Yep. But anyways, I think it's and so yeah, with what we offer, peer navigation, it's kind of like, it's case management with therapy. Like they're just awesome. I can't believe
yeah.
it's an awesome thing. And then like our fitness program. But what's cool is that we're able to, number one, meet with amazing partners who all they want to do is help others.
Yep.
And so collaborating with them, and then just building more opportunities for clients.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'll tell our clients, hopefully they'll start being listeners. But like I said, I've done my field work. I've been in and out. I've done the stuff. And they really do. They check mark a lot of things, and you can really succeed, really, really succeed if you got to just put in the work. You got to shed your ego a little bit, and we'll light the flame for you and give you, the match and all the things, but you just gotta, yeah, it's I also think too, it's powerful to have the opportunity to be a part of a community for so long.
Hmm.
I think we underestimate the time it takes to really get a hold of this whole thing. So
Absolutely.
if you can build the opposite of what addiction is, connection, sure.
Well, and one of the things that I really like about Mountain West, and something that I really, really like about them, there are requirements to be a peer coach there, unlike 95% of the places out there where if you are breathing, you can be a recovery coach. But at Mountain West, you need what, 2 years of sobriety to become a
Yeah,
coach
extensive.
and your certification.
Yeah, extensive training, which I love. Yeah, they go through. I think the training's probably going to be even more extensive now, just because of the
Yeah,
it's
with
not
all the new rules and stuff coming out.
right,
Yeah.
and the navigating and all the things. But they're
And
all so amped.
and they're not required to do that. That's why I appreciate it, because they're saying, no, this is something that needs to change. We're not changing it because it's required. We're changing it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Just like the New West Pines.
yeah,
It cost them money. It did. But what I appreciate them doing is a lot of treatment centers, whether it's addiction, alcoholism, or mental health, you're all in the same room. And they separated it over there because those people need different kind of, we got to separate there. Then we have our different pathways and stuff.
yeah.
So when I see a company go out of their way to do the right thing, not because it's required, I take that as, that's loyalty to me. That's commitment. That's integrity. And that's what we need. I want to give Mountain West phone number out here real quick. 720-288-0450. Again, that's 720-288-0450. You can find them at mountainwest.care. And like Lauren mentioned, they have peer navigation, they have sober livings, they have intensive outpatient, they have therapy. They are not, but what they are not is a one-stop shop. Okay, they are not the alpha omega. But if they can't help you, Lauren, what happens at Mountain West if you know that maybe you're not the best fit? What do you guys do?
That's where I come in, and we will find a place that, and when we talk to you, we'll find what your needs are. And if you've already been with us, we'll know exactly what you need. And so then we talk to our partners and we get you the care, but we would never just say, see ya.
You refer them out.
Right.
You don't say, oh, yeah, we can take care of that, throw it against the wall and hope it sticks. No, it's not what they do over there.
I'll give this to Mountain West. I'll give this to Dane, is he's mindful of who we partner with. And we want we just want them to align. We want them to have integrity too. We want them to be client first as well. We want, and so anybody we have direct partnerships with, you can know that they're going to take care of you.
Yeah. It's the process of like AA meetings, as a sponsor. I meet people where they are at. I do not expect them to be where I'm at. That's ridiculous. Just what I love about my home group, of course, and I started it, so yeah, I'm proud of that too. But we don't ask who here is willing to be a sponsor. We ask who here needs a sponsor.
Yep.
And if nobody is available, we find you one. That's what I was taught to do in AA. That we don't say no. We find reasons to say yes. And I would much rather be around somebody that's like, okay, you want to race over, see who can get to the newcomer first? Then somebody is sitting on their butt complaining that nobody's asking them to talk to them. Right? Got to be proactive. Lauren, thank you so much for being on. I always enjoy our conversations. I'm glad I got to know Dane because I've gotten, more friendships under my belt. I mean, the way I see it with you and Dane and Casper's worst case scenario, I have 3 more closed mouth friends. That's worst case scenario.
I know, right?
Yeah, but we're going to be doing some stuff starting next month. We're going to be taking an AA meeting to East Metro Detox. You, me, and Casper are going to do that. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I know. I was talking to Dane about that the other day, so it'll be good stuff.
Yeah. And we'll get it on Zoom, and that room is nice too.
I know. The whole place was great.
Oh, we're gonna fill it up. We're gonna fill it up.
When is their grand opening? I didn't find that. Did I?
5 more days.
Okay.
The 7th, I believe. Right now, so everybody knows, most of my listeners are not in Colorado, though. East Metro Detox is closed until the 7th while they continue to move. Lauren, is there any parting words of wisdom? Is there maybe something on your mind that you'd like to say as we wrap up?
Well, let me think. No, just that I've had a good year with, spiritually, and that I would just say that you're a lot more powerful than you think you are, right? Like
Ah,
way more. And it feels like, even though there's still chaos, like I had to pick up my son for pooping
mhm.
today, like you still feel like there's such a sense of control of your life. You're almost puppeteering it because you're just filled with gratitude. And
Yeah,
so like the downward spiral I talked
yeah,
about, you
yeah.
can have an upward spiral, and you
Right.
have continue to have them. And giving myself grace is a huge reason why,
Oh,
you
there
know
we go.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel this way. I gave myself some credit, and then I kept impressing myself, right? Like,
I do know.
weird.
I do.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm an alcoholic, and I think the same way.
right.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Thank
you though,
you.
Dion. Yeah.
I'm at my Jerry Springer moment here. We've talked about a lot of things here today, and um, one part that Lauren was talking about, that feeling that I was not worthy.
Mhm.
I had 10 years of sobriety at one point. I had been a drug and alcohol counselor. I mean, I had done a lot of things in the industry and done a lot of good work. And I didn't feel like God was going to take me back, that I would not. And this is just, so, we alcoholics tend to think we're the shit or a piece of shit. But the truth is, God doesn't make poop.
I love
Yeah.
the poop topic.
Right. So, you know, don't be a piece of poop. It's all right. It's all right. You're worth any amount of effort anybody, including yourself, is willing to put into you. You're
Heck
worth it. You just may not know it yet.
yeah.
So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. To all my listeners, thank you so much. I love
Yep,
you.
everyone. I love you too.
You know I do. Peace out and keep on trudging.